This blimp that Sadiq Khan, the mayor of London, has approved to fly over your city while the president is there in protest. How do you feel about that?
It's an insult. You know, whatever Sadiq Khan thinks about President Trump, he should not put that personal enmity above the fact that President Trump, like him or not, is the leader of the biggest and most important country in the world.
Are you honestly saying that the right to protest, the right to assemble, the right to free speech is limited by the ridicule it might cause somebody else?
The helicopter every American president takes with him everywhere. And off to the skies safely above London, keeping his distance from the unruly streets below. The first American president to visit the capital while avoiding it.
We're both Americans, and we deeply disagree with Trump, his policies, what he's doing in the United States and what he's doing throughout the world. So that was primary motivation. And also now living in the UK, we want to stand up with those who say he shouldn't have been welcomed here. And he should have been met with Theresa May or the Queen or given any welcome reception.
I'm a student at political science, and now I'm at King's and I study war and diplomacy. How they can handle Trump is that they should try and see how they can not really put Trump out, because he's coming, you know where he's coming from, the state where he's coming from. They claim to be a world superpower, and with the whole international dynamics, international politics playing in, how they should handle Trump. And I think with all these protests, this is a way also of handling Trump, because this plays much in digital diplomacy. It communicates something to the international community. Perhaps they should see what this is, and also other countries should also follow suit if they think it's because people are demonstrating the cause, they're not demonstrating the person.
I honestly don't understand why these people are protesting against someone who was duly elected. Whether you like him or not, he was duly elected. He has to make a state visit, okay? We have to do a trade deal with him. We have to get security in place. They're our greatest allies. We've got no other choice. What he's done for his country, each and every single head of state should be doing for their own countries. How can we look after anyone else when our own backyard's in a mess? We need to sort our own backyards out before we can go and help anyone else. It's ridiculous. So that's what Donald Trump's done. He's lowered the taxes, which has helped the economy because people have more money in their pockets so they can go out and spend more, which helps the businesses within America. He's also opened up trade for other nations to come in, but not allowing them to overrule trade, to make it reciprocal. So there's an even part on both sides.
I've had conversations with Trump supporters, and I found that Trump supporters are people that you really don't, there's no point actually having reasoned discussions with Trump supporters. Trump supporters tend not to work on facts. It doesn't matter that Trump lies. It doesn't matter that his lies are provable. Trump supporters work on feelings. They think he's doing a good job. They feel that it's the right thing for them. So, and until we can begin to address those feelings, I don't think we're going to progress too far with Trump supporters. Now, that may be counterproductive in a lot of people's minds, but if somebody could give me an idea on how to actually change a Trump supporter's mind, I'd be happy to try it.
We're exercising our democratic right, and we're just showing that we don't agree with everything that Trump says, or anything really that Trump says. And it's good when you're surrounded by this many people that also disagree with the bigot.
We're privileged enough to be able to speak in this country freely, to do this, where our voice is there for other people, essentially. Those who can't, like in other countries, you wouldn't be allowed to do this. So a lot of other places around the world. So yeah, if you get the opportunity, you should.
Scrotus impotus, which is meant to be supreme corrupt ruler of the United States, but it's also like scrotum, like, you know.
I've been following him since he was, standing for election, and what he said then was as offensive and more. It's got more offensive as it goes on, basically. Whenever I look at the news, the first thing I go to is see what's happening with Trump, because that's the biggest danger we face in the world today, right? The danger of nuclear war, the danger of, environmental apocalypse. He's pushing it forward with every step he takes, and he's the person we have to keep our eye on, I think, really, above all, right now. He's obsessed with his crowd figures, so when someone shows him how many people are here today, I hope he thinks about it. think seriously about how many people don't want him in this country.
Trump has made the most disastrous step recently, really cocking a salute at the Palestinians and at the United Nations and at international law. So we have to say to Trump, no, it's not good enough. Mrs. Theresa May seems to have been rather supine and, she held his hand. How dare she hold his hand? We do have to recognize he is president of the USA. So we have to talk to him and respond. But there's no reason to lie down and berate. The guy needs opposition. And we have to be very clear about the dreadful things that he's doing and saying.
The blimp I think was a brilliant idea. Unfortunately, I don't think they actually went too far. They went far enough. What I would have done was had Roger Waters' Pig and a mariachi band in Parliament Square playing American Idiot.
The blimp was fine. I think the blimp was fine. Isn't Trump the first person to say that you shouldn't get hurt by other people's words and actions like that? So if he can't take an inflated, blimp of himself in a nappy, he's really not practicing what he preaches.
He's the first person to call people babies, so
yeah,
call him a baby back. It's fine.
And if anything, they really toned down his tan and gave him more hair, so he should be flattered.
We wish it was much bigger. We really thought it was going to be a lot larger.
Disgraceful, utterly disgraceful. How Sadiq Khan actually sanctioned for that to be allowed to be flown in anywhere is absolutely disgraceful. It's beyond words. How it was allowed to be flown, even thought of, the idea executed behind it. It's just ridiculous.
The Baby Trump, that's a message actually. That's a message. Yeah. And just as I told you earlier on, it's a message being communicated to the world that people's opinion, public opinion, should really be put into consideration when diplomatic, and because the big wigs in the diplomatic sector coming in and making policies, because policies are made for the people. And people are the people who make the state. State is supposed to be made by the people. So it's a message being communicated about public opinion.
The blimp, we walked down from the Parliament Square with it. It was fun, a lot of fun. It wasn't as big as I was expecting it to be, but it was big enough to be seen. And it shows that you have a sense of humour when it comes to stuff like this, because otherwise you'll cry, right? It's a good message to send to him that we all think he needs to mature a lot and quickly.
You've got to have an element of humour and love for it to be fair, essentially, and for everyone to feel that it's not a form of aggression, it's peace, it's peaceful, and I think a lot of, he obviously turned his nose up to the blimp, but if you portray yourself like that, you can't blame people for making something like that at all.
It's a massive outpouring of the way that Trump is actually despised in this country. I don't think anybody actually expected this. In Trump's own words, it's the biggest crowd you've seen for a long time.
It's quite easy to get taken in by your own personal views, the whole thing with the internet, you never really, you're so engrossed in your own sort of world in that sense, and then coming here and seeing how everyone has the same opinion. You're not on your own in that, because I feel a lot of people would feel isolated by by everything that's happened in the last few years. And to come here, it's really refreshing and see how everyone's united with it. It's brilliant.
It's amazing to see so many people actually. It's like we were just saying, it's the biggest protest we've ever seen in central London, and he deserves it, I think. But no, it feels really good to see so many people, so many different opinions, but all based around the same subject, which is he shouldn't be here and he probably shouldn't be in charge of anything.
It's very encouraging to see so many people showing up. Nice, wide range of ages as well, and groups.
On the whole, it's been very peaceful. I think that's the most important thing, to show that you don't need violence to show your opinion, that your opinion is perfectly expressed with words and just coming together and making a loud noise. It doesn't have to be violent. So yeah, it's important that people realise that, I think, yeah.